Have been told that the young children should not be lifting weights because it could stunt their growth.
But is this a myth? There's some new research with positives to hitting the weights early. Men's Health magazine reporting on this. A recent issue looked at kids and powerlifting, which may be extreme, right? But what is the right time for your kids to start doing some weight and strength training? We wanted to talk to a local trainer, and Jason Burgoon is the owner of his own gym, Bodies by Burgoon in Minneapolis. Jason, nice to see you.
Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for having me. Good to talk to you again.
I know you do some training of younger kids. You have your own younger kids. So what are we talking about? Talk us through kind of the thought process on this.
First thing is I want to do today is myth bust, to use the word, break some myths down. One, if we swallow gum, that's not going to be in my stomach for 7 years. If I do this face, it's not going to stay like that. The third is if this child lifts weights, there's not going to be an injury there as long as there's guidance from a skilled professional. Now, the biggest point I want to make is the first one. From the moment the child starts to pick things up, toys, books, backpacks, they're lifting. We're not talking about bodybuilding here. We're talking about building a base level of strength that will hold over and reign for the whole life to come.
What ages are we talking about here when you're talking about working with a professional or working under supervision?
So if we're talking of formal training, the child, in my opinion, has to be old enough to keep focus and be mature enough emotionally to take criticism and or guidance. In my opinion, you're looking around 7, 8, but as we were speaking earlier, I have an 11-year-old who's been lifting body weights and focusing on mechanics as early as 2 or 3. Now, I think where a large, like the gum, like the face sticking, we start to say things without maybe knowing. Growth plates are what we're talking about here. Growth plates are areas of cartilage on the end of long bones. Because they're the last to harden, they're the most vulnerable for injury. So when we talk about children, what do? Especially speaking of myself, I had the image of a superhero, which is very strong. So the first thing I did, the moment I could, or a older cousin or a parent, is I lifted as hard as I can. These are how children get injured. But we're talking about a slow and controlled movement between 12 and 15 reps has been more than proven to help benefit. Now, the child not have a lot of benefit of bodybuilding, but there's an incredible amount of benefit of being confident and attaching success and strength and confidence to what your body can do, not just what it looks like.
Jason, what's the best way to get started if you have a kid kind of in that age range where you might want to begin a little bit of weight training?
That's a great question. I would say first, it depends on the child. If the child is interested, if the child is old enough to read this, the child is able to start weight training very lightly, very controlled, and we just start with basic mechanics. Mechanics are everything. No matter what your goal is, all we can do is push, pull, hinge, squat, lunge, rotate, and brace your core.
Mm-hmm. All right. Jason Burgoon from Bodies by Burgoon, thanks for joining us this morning. We really appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
You too.